Okay, go.
Hi. Tricky getting in today.
Recording in progress.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call the Washoe County Board of Adjustment January 5th, 2026 meeting to order. May we please have a determination of quorum?
Peter Gashon,
Present.
Rob Pierce,
Present.
Kathy Julian,
Present.
Patrick Caldwell,
Present.
Leo Harishny.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. If you would all please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Mr. Lehman, please have the ethics law announcement.
Board members are reminded that, if with respect to any matter or any person coming before the board today, that 1, you have received a gift or loan, 2, you have a pecuniary interest, 3, you have a commitment in a private capacity such as a family, employment, business, or other similar relationship, or 4, you provided representation or counseling before an agency to a person or entity for compensation within the last year on a matter being considered, you must disclose that gift, loan, interest, commitment, or prior representation at the time the matter is being considered. And you must furthermore abstain from deliberation or voting on a matter if it is clear that the gift, loan, interest, commitment, or prior representation would materially affect the independence of judgment of a reasonable person. Board members are also reminded that under the Board of Adjustment rules, if you had any contact outside this meeting with persons interested in a matter coming before the board today, you should disclose the nature of that contact at this meeting. Zoom instructions. This meeting will be held in the County Commission chambers and via Zoom. To attend this meeting via Zoom, please log into the Zoom webinar link or webinar using the link found on the agenda. You can also join the meeting by typing in zoom.us into your computer browser, clicking Join a Meeting on the Zoom website, and entering this meeting ID, 872-1567-5749. Alternatively, you can join the meeting via telephone only by dialing 1-669-900-9128, entering the meeting ID 872-1567-5749, and pressing pound. For those wishing to provide public comment via Zoom, log into Zoom webinar using the link on the agenda and utilize the raise hand feature during any public comment period. To provide public comment via telephone only, press star 9 to raise hand and star 6 to mute/unmute.
Thank you. Mr. Lloyd, the appeal procedure, please.
Most decisions rendered by the Board of Adjustment are appealable to the Board of County Commissioners. If you disagree with the decision of the Board of Adjustment and qualify as an aggrieved person or party, you may appeal in writing within 10 calendar days from the date that the decision being appealed is reduced to writing, filed with the Secretary of the Board of Adjustment, and mailed to the original applicant in the proceeding being appealed in accordance with Washoe County Code. Please call the planning staff immediately at 775-328-6100 for information on the appeal procedure and the application fee.
Thank you. General public comment, do we have any?
There is no public comment via Zoom or in chambers.
Okay, and has everyone reviewed today's agenda? Any comments, questions, changes? I'll entertain a motion.
This is Rob. I move to accept as written.
This is Pat Caldwell, second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the January 5th, 2026 agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Okay, motion passes. Has everyone reviewed the December 4, 2025 draft minutes? Any comments, changes, questions?
No. This is Rob. I move to accept as written.
This is Pat Caldwell, I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the December 4, 2025 draft minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Okay, motion passes. All right, let's move on to the public hearing. Item 8A, special use permit case number WSUP 25-0020, Lakeshore Grading. Mr. Lloyd, would you please announce?
Yeah, for hearing, discussion, and possible action to approve a special use permit to allow for a driveway to traverse a slope of 30% or greater and to construct a permanent berm greater than 4.5 feet in height within the required front yard setback. The applicant is proposing finished slopes of 1 horizontal to 1 vertical. Representing Washoe County in this matter is planner Jolene Bertetto.
Thank you.
Everything's moving a little slowly today.
What's that say right there?
It says it's sharing. Just stop sharing.
Just had it up. Sorry, everyone, we just had it up. One moment. Sorry, Jolene.
Thank you. Jolene Bertetto, Washoe County Planning. Today we are looking at a special use permit application, WSUP 250020 for 449 Lakeshore Grading. And starting off with a little bit of background, this applicant did apply for a special use permit in February 2021. It was approved. And then again in May 2023, which was also approved. So the current proposal that you're looking at is identical to those past proposals. It is for grading that would allow for the development of a driveway and single-family residence. And the applicant did share that the delay was due to funding, some of that resulting from the COVID-19 pandemic. That's why those last special use permits expired, but they are confident that if this one is again approved, they have those funding issues taken care of and would be able to proceed with the project. The vicinity map is shown here on the right. This is part of the Tahoe area plan, specifically the Tahoe Crystal Bay area. It's 1.32 acres in size. You can see that it is lakeside, and it's located right off of State Route 28. So this parcel does have steep slopes that are requiring that major grading permit that we're looking at today. So their grading triggers 2 requirements for the special use permit. They're up here on the board. The first is any driveway or road that traverses a slope of 30% or greater for more than 50 feet. And then the second is grading to construct a berm greater than 4.5 feet within the required front yard setback. And when this applicant had applied for those previous special use permits, there were additional major grading triggers, but our grading code has been revised over the last couple of years, but these 2 still are requirements. And here's a look at the site plan. The site plan is pretty detailed, so this is just a screenshot that I grabbed from it to show to you today. So the main house, as you can see on here, up to State Route 28 is more than 50 feet, and it does exceed 30% slope in areas. And then on this plan, there's a dotted line that shows the parcel property line. So anything in this circle here on the right, where the end of the driveway is meeting State Route 28, that is going to be regulated by NDOT. That is part of the NDOT right-of-way. And so they will need an encroachment permit. I did want to point out that in the area plan, when I was evaluating it, there is a part of it that says further encroachment permits onto Highway 28 should be discouraged. So with that in mind, we did circulate this application to NDOT, and they will require that encroachment permit and occupancy permit. the applicant wanted to note, and they had this in the application, that previously NDOT did approve those permits, but as of right now, those permits are in progress. The applicant shared they met with NDOT in person in November, and that there's a few exhibit items that they're updating, but that is pending. So that information from NDOT's not available at this time. In addition to NDOT, it was circulated to, or including NDOT, it was circulated to 24 other agencies for review. So we do have conditions by NDOT, Washoe County Traffic, the County Sheriff's Office, and the County Engineering Department. A neighborhood meeting was not required because this is a residential grading project, but a notice was sent to 37 unique property owners within a 1,200-foot radius, as seen on the map on the right. We did receive 5 public comments that were in opposition to the project, voicing concerns around dangerous conditions from State Route 28, and then concerns around erosion, sediment, and eyesore issues in the event that the project was started and then abandoned on the parcel. I did want to share, addressing some of those public comments, that the applicant did provide this diagram for slope stabilization. Their proposal will utilize a combination of walls, revegetation to stabilize the slopes, and then includes rockery walls, concrete walls, native revegetation, and erosion mats. So even though this is a steep slope and requires that encroachment permit from NDOT, we were able to make the following 5 findings: that the applicant is proposing best practices for grading to accommodate a legal buildable lot, and grading will also need to meet TRPA standards for consistency. So that TRPA permit is also being updated and is under review. The finding around improvements: there's adequate utilities and public facilities. The site, again, while steep, has been found to be suitable for grading for a driveway and single-family residence. We found that all potential impacts will be properly mitigated, and then there is no detrimental effect on a military installation. So we are recommending approval with conditions and provide a possible motion to approve as seen up here on the board. And not sure what's happening there on the screen right now, but that concludes the presentation, and I'm available for questions. The applicant is also joining us online on Zoom.
Okay. This is Peter for the record. Can you just go back to the notice map? I'm pretty sure that was wrong. And can you just confirm for us that how many properties were noticed?
Sure. If we can get that back up.
You should be able to use the clicker.
Oh.
I think it's full screen on mine. Sorry, everything's moving really slow, but.
Let me look at my presentation.
There. You're good.
Okay, so the notice map. Oh, gosh, you're right. I included a different screenshot of the notice map. I'm looking at it on my, my computer.
Yeah. Looks
Oh,
like
gosh.
a lake, but not Tahoe.
No, that is not Tahoe. That was a different
It appears to be
image.
Spanish Springs in the industrial park.
Yeah. Apologies there. That is a holdover from, obviously, the template.
But is the text correct?
The text
Notice was
is,
sent to
the text
37?
is correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
That's kind of embarrassing. I'm sorry about that.
No, this board likes
The text
notice.
is correct in the noticing and then the public comments.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for staff at this time?
This is Pat Caldwell for the record. I had one question about, I understand the driveway's going to be 14 feet wide, and then towards Highway 28, it's how wide for turnarounds? And, because in here it says that the applicant shall design the driveway entrance to accommodate all turnaround movements. without requiring a three-point turn to access the driveway. How wide is that driveway at its access point there? I couldn't find it on here, or it's too small for my old eyes.
Let's see.
Recording Secretary Adriana and Jolene, we do have the applicant, Joshua Myers, on if you'd like to.
Sure. I'm looking to see if I have that information readily available. They do mention that they will be widening it at the north to allow for vehicle turning movements. I do not have the information on how wide that will be in the NDOT right-of-way. They will have to submit those final driveway plans when they're getting their encroachment permit.
Kathy Julian for the record. I also have a query along those same lines. But my confusion is that in the application, it does say that they have received approval for some of the NDOT approvals. And you, I believe, just said that there had been an encroachment approval that had been approved before. Well, wouldn't the design of the driveway, as well as the site distance standards and the traffic control plan, which I also have an interest in understanding that, wouldn't they have been approved as part of those previous NDOT approvals, and do we have access to that information now?
I believe those have expired, so we are looking. I did want to bring up the background of this project, that some of you may have reviewed those original special use permits, but that we are looking at it as a new special use permit, and so that information was not provided. Trevor, did you want to add anything? Or we could also ask the applicant if they want to provide more details along those lines.
Yeah, I don't know that, I'm certainly not prepared to provide details on the previous approvals. What I can state is that this is a new project requiring new permitting. There is a condition, a requirement for a new occupancy permit that needs to be obtained through NDOT. So they may take that, NDOT may take that into consideration, but that is a requirement of this special use permit.
So my understanding, Kathy Julian for the record, so my understanding is that we may be asked to approve this without having information about the design of the entry and about the site analysis and about the traffic control, which were all things that the community had raised as concerns.
So we would be approving it for the grading portion of it, and when they do come back to us with a building permit, the driveway would be under more scrutiny at that time.
Okay, and on the grading portion of it, am I to understand that the grading is not only for the driveway, but for the pad that the building will be built on?
Yes, correct.
All right.
The driveway traversing that steep slope was one of the major grading special use permit triggers. But yes, this is looking at grading for the entire parcel.
And if I can
So-
also weigh in
okay.
to respond to your question, what you're looking at is approval of a plan, essentially a conceptual plan, with the understanding that there may be minor modifications needed in order to comply with the requirements of Washoe County, of NDOT, of the reviewing agencies, and to make the engineering work. So what we as staff will require of the applicants is that their plans are in substantial conformance with the approved plans, with the understanding that there could be slight modifications.
This is Pat Calder for the record. Okay, so if this is treated as a new SUP, as, you know, compared to the other two that were submitted that were expired, the one thing that I don't understand is that in the application, the applicant says the project was designed to Washoe County TRPA and NDOT standards. TRPA and NDOT approval has already been granted. So is that a true statement, or are they referring to the previous SUPs?
They are referring to the previous SUPs, those NDOT, that permit process. Those
Right.
are all being renewed. Because their plan didn't change from that previous one, I think that's why they chose to include that. But when I spoke with the applicant, they said those permits are actually pending. That's why those were not provided
understand.
to the board prior to this meeting.
Okay.
Kathy Julian, for the record, may I have some clarification, though? 3 of the things I think they needed to get that previous NDOT approval was the site distance plan, or standards analyses, the driveway design, and the traffic control information. My understanding, though, is if that's already been done for the previous application, but it's not public information, so that the community raising concerns about those 3 aspects wouldn't necessarily have access to that as public information, so they're operating in the dark.
Can I pull us back to what the request is at hand here? With the understanding that any permits along State Route 28 would require similar approvals through NDOT, any encroachment permit, without going through a public hearing process. So what we're looking at is the proposed grading of the driveway on site. I don't know that we are, maybe we have engineering staff here and can better address the requirements of NDOT, but I don't know that we are prepared to respond to all of the specifics that NDOT will be looking at with the permit in place.
Well, and this is Peter. Can I follow on that before we hear from engineering? There's a statement that says Washoe County does not have regulatory jurisdiction over the right-of-way. So even if there were a traffic control plan that we didn't agree with, it doesn't matter because we have no regulatory control over the right-of-way. Is that a fair statement?
Janelle Thomas, Senior Licensed Engineer, for the record. Yes, Member Gashawn, that is correct. That is an accurate statement. That one of the conditions of approval that engineering has recommended for this SUP application is the applicant's ability to attain that encroachment and occupancy permit from NDOT. They do have jurisdiction over their roadway, and they would be the ones that would approve any kind of traffic control plans or construction plans that interfere or encroach into their right-of-way. Does that provide additional clarity for you, Member Julian?
Well, a further clarification, though, if they were, does the grading of the pad where the house will be also trigger any SUP requirement or not? Or it's simply the grading of the driveway that triggers the SUP requirement?
It is the overall amount of grading that is triggering this, I believe. And I will try not to play planner.
I think it's the slope. The slope, right?
I would just add, in previous special use permits, it was based on the amount of grading, but our grading code has been revised. So we're specifically, when we're looking at the special use permit, looking at the slope of the driveway.
Yeah, I guess the question, I'll paraphrase, is whether or not the berm exceeds 4.5 feet to fill the 4.5 feet of slope in order to fill the pad site for the house. I don't know the answer to that question, if it's just for the driveway or does it also include the pad for the house, do you know?
I believe that's up near the driveway.
Oh, just the driveway?
Because it's in the setbacks.
This Leo Hirshini, I don't know if this will help or make things worse, but on page 6, the top of the paragraph does say the grading will occur primarily for the construction of the driveway, building pad, and retaining walls. So that sounds like that would include the house pad.
Do we know if the applicant has a presentation and would they like to speak now?
The applicant, I believe, is available. I see the initials JGM. If that is Joshua Myers or you're with the applicant, please unmute and state your first and last name for the record.
Joshua Myers.
The floor is yours.
So I'm the applicant. A lot of good questions you guys are asking. The project, I met with NDOT in November. Nothing is changing at all from the original submittal. We've already submitted a traffic plan to NDOT. They required just an update on it. Nothing's changing on the plan. They just want it updated with the current date. We've actually done a 3-point turn radius exhibit that the engineers did, showing that a fire truck, primarily it was for fire, a fire truck can come in there and make a 3-point turn within the initial entrance off of Highway 28. You were asking how wide it was. I don't know exactly how wide it is, but it was designed to accommodate a 3-point turn for a fire truck. That was the reason for doing it. So yeah, a lot of the questions that I hear you guys asking, you know, NDOT has those exhibits. Those exhibits have already been done. They were done with the previous submittal. NDOT has essentially, you know, assured me that they're reapproving it, pending just updating a few reports. Also met with Paul Nielsen, TRPA. Nothing is changing. They just want me to fill out the application. They're reapproving it. So all the questions that you guys are asking, all the reports have been done and you know, filed with the proper agencies, being TRPA and NDOT. So, and the grading that we're looking at is primarily for the driveway. It obviously the home is being built with retaining walls and fill, so the grading is not as dramatic for the pad as it is for the driveway. The driveway has a front slope facing the lake that's 16 feet tall. That obviously has all been, you know, engineered already and approved by, you know, previously approved by NDOT engineering, so meets all code. If you have any specific questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Yeah, this is Pat Caldwell for the record. I have one question regarding the actual turnaround area. What will prevent people from using that as a turnout or turning around themselves? I worry somewhat about the traffic issue there and, you know, potential hazards. Are there going to be signs, or how is that going to be handled?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's probably going to be a do not enter sign, but it is gated. So the project is gated at the highway, so people won't be able to drive down the driveway. But you know, it is open. It's open as is all the other driveways. You know, all the other driveways on Highway 28 are open. It is open at the, you know, the portion where, you know, it goes off the highway, but it's gated as you go down to the house.
Okay, thank you.
Kathy Julian for the record. Thank you. If you can elaborate on that turnaround a bit more. I'm reading a condition in here saying that the applicant shall design the driveway entrance to accommodate all turning movements without requiring a 3-point turn. But it sounds as though the approval from NDOT was for a fire engine that would require doing a 3-point turn.
Correct, because they want to turn the fire engine around.
Okay, my assumption, this was discussing the concept of turning into the driveway without obstructing traffic in the road. Am I misunderstanding something here?
Janelle Thomas for the record. The intent of the condition that was provided by engineering is to prevent vehicles from approaching the gate to the property and not being able to turn around. And so the last thing that we want to occur is for general traffic to be backing into that right-of-way of Highway 28. And so the intent of our condition was that we would prevent any kind of backing into Highway 28. And it doesn't sound like that's what's been presented to NDOT. Now, they have jurisdiction over what traffic maneuvers can occur on their right-of-way, but I would say that the primary intent is to eliminate vehicles from backing into Highway 28 when they reach that gate.
I'm sorry, Kathy Julian for the record, just to clarify, and backing into Highway 28 would occur if the turn were too sharp
Yes.
and you would need to accomplish a three-point turn to get into the driveway. Okay, so I have some confusion now as to what NDOT has possibly approved versus what you're requiring here. So that's just, I'll put that on the table. But if I can go back to what the applicant said, my understanding was that I thought the gate was going to be further down from the road because there was some reference to 4 cars being able to stack so that there wouldn't be backup into the highway. 4 cars, perhaps the applicant can address that.
Yes, the gate is offset. It is offset slightly down the driveway. I don't have the plans in front of me, but to my memory, I think it's 15, 20 feet down the driveway. But it's visible. The gate is visible from the highway. You'll be able to visibly see it from the highway. But it's not on Highway 28. It's on the driveway portion as it goes down. I think the plans show it. If you could pull the driveway plans up again that you had on the screen before that I showed. If you have you can actually see the columns for the gates. They should be on that. They should be on that diagram that showed the house.
Okay, great, because one of the statements made seemed like the gate was going to be on Highway 28, and I wanted to clarify that.
No.
Okay. Kathy Julian, for the record, would the applicant be able to elaborate at all about the site distance analysis that was done and presented to NDOT, and also the traffic control plan, just what that might entail?
To my knowledge, the site analysis plan was done by the engineer for NDOT. It was approved by NDOT. To my knowledge, the site analysis plan has certain criteria for visibility that your site has to meet to be considered for the criteria, even to have access off of Highway 28. Yeah, I saw you can see the gates right here when you look. When you look on the diagram here, you can see the gates. It looks like maybe they're a little bit further down. They're right. Keep going to your left. Come back up the driveway. Come back up. Stop. Right there. You're right. You're directly on the gate right now. You can actually see the little flanges there that we drew, so you can see the opening right there. That's it. Correct.
Anything else from anybody?
Yeah, this is Pat Coldwell for the record. I have one more question. Since the SUP was approved twice, what is the expected time period that you'll be able to complete this project?
So we anticipate starting May 1st, and we will get the grading. The grading will be finished. The grading will be finished in 2026.
Okay, thank you.
We have about, yeah, that's right.
Kathy Julian.
Were you talking about the grading or the house?
This is Pat Caldwell for the record. I was talking about the grading. Yes.
Yeah, this year, 2026.
Are you set, Kathy?
Kathy Julian, for the record, I still was, so you have no further information about the traffic control plan, what was suggested? Because there was a letter from the Washoe County Sheriff's Office that commented about, and again, I'm focusing on this because the community is focused on this, at least the people who responded to the letter. The Washoe County Sheriff's Department office said that they hadn't received, they hadn't, I think, reviewed the traffic control plan. And I was wondering, but they did mention that they anticipated there would be stoppages on Highway 28, and they would, of course, want to be notified of such stoppages. So that leads me to wonder what kind of traffic control plan has been in the past approved by NDOT, which will be, again, reviewed, updated, and approved, but again, without public knowledge, because those things are done without public review. So I would like to understand what that traffic control plan looks like.
Great, that's a great question. So the traffic control plan that we have designed for this project essentially has two people at all times with radios. As I don't know if any of you guys have ever driven down Highway 28 before up in Lake Tahoe, but essentially you have a guy with a vest on, orange vest. He's got a radio and a stop sign, and they coordinate to stop traffic in one direction when needed, and to reverse and open traffic in the other direction. As far as the scheduling is concerned, that is something that they gave us hours in which we can do our traffic control. They have a schedule for us to follow up there. I don't have the schedule in front of me, but I recall it was a schedule. But essentially it's a professionally managed traffic control plan that is controlled by a company that you actually hire to do the traffic control. So there's companies out there that do the traffic control. So it's a coordinated, controlled effort, to stop the traffic when it needs to be stopped and move the traffic when it needs to be moved. And the traffic control, and remember that the traffic control is only used when we need to work on the highway, when we need to, bring equipment in that can't get down the driveway. I mean, obviously, once the initial part of the driveway portion off of Highway 28 is built, and once half of the driveway is built down to the residence, we won't have traffic control anymore. We only need traffic control to get the cut in the guardrail and to build a retaining wall and to have the ability to get onto the site. But once we get onto the site, we won't need traffic control. So I anticipate we'll probably have May, June, July, probably end of July with traffic control. So probably 3 months of traffic control, if that helps you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, let's.
Just Jolene Bertetto, for the record. To address the question from their previous permit with NDOT, just the hours of operation, though again, I did not present this to the board because it is not going to be valid until another one is signed. But just to help with your decision, the hours of work were limited to 7 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Monday through Friday to avoid that weekend traffic.
Okay, thanks. Do we have any public comment?
There is no public comment in chambers, and on Zoom, there are no hands raised.
Okay, let's bring it back to the board for discussion. Anybody have any immediate thoughts?
Kathy Julian, for the record. One of the concerns raised by the people who responded was, and I know this because living in Incline Village, I go by there frequently. There is a property right next door that began an excavation grading process and stopped for some reason, and I have no idea why. But that issue is, what happens if there is a stoppage here, there for some reason? And I understand that piece of property next door is for sale again. So evidently there was a serious problem with that. What, do we have any, I think one of the community members mentioned, is there any bonding that can be done to ensure that there are monies to repair the property if it's not, if it for some reason cannot proceed, or to mitigate environmental damage from whatever has been done? And I'm just curious if the county has looked at this, or has even considered the property next door had serious problems, I believe, given that the operations are abandoned now and it's for sale. So has that factored into any analysis?
Janelle Thomas, for the record. I don't have the history on the adjacent properties, but I know that this would be processed in the same manner, or a similar manner, in that we would review that grading permit application. Typically, unless they are disturbing over an acre of land, we don't require a specific bond for grading. But yeah, they would have to follow the rules and regulations as set forth in their grading permit.
So Kathy Julian, for the record, so would I assume that it would probably fall to perhaps TRPA to be the body addressing the implications of a failed project on the lake in terms of
I would guess that is
runoff
probably
and so forth.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. I know that TRPA has some teeth in their regulations. This does require a parallel path. It does require approval through both Washoe County and TRPA. However, I'm not at liberty right now. I don't know the answer to the question in terms of whether they require bonding. I don't know that they do or not, but they have some very stringent regulations that I believe they're imposing on the neighbors right now.
This is Pat Calder for the record. Yeah, Kathy, it's one of the things that actually I consider too in the public comment, and I think for the right-of-way and traffic, we have to really rely on NDOT's standards and what they're going to require. And where I'm sympathetic to the public commenters that, you know, the property next door, they didn't complete it and the land was scarred and everything, I don't think really we can penalize this homeowner because of some other homeowner. And that's kind of my thinking on it, is that it's not really fair. Yeah.
Kathy Julian, for the record, I actually am not suggesting that one penalizes it, but I am cognizant that we are supposed to be suggesting mitigating actions, and so it does concern me that we do look at what has gone before and question that and ask if there is anything. But I understand there are limits for doing bond actions, and one would hope, part of my questioning is to make sure the public and anyone from the community listening to this or looking at the minutes understand what is available to the public to look at and what isn't available, the processes that are available to the public to look at and what isn't, and so that they know if there is a problem, they know where the problem is. And so that's one thing that I always try to highlight here. I'm concerned as well. It's a very steep slope, and the five commenters aren't the only people in Incline Village who believe that this slope should not have been approved for building in any case. But that's not our purview here. So understood on that. But given the steepness of that and the difficulty, and given that these are choke points for evacuation in the summer for fire, that's why I probe on the traffic control aspect, because you will have backups on Highway 28, and this could impact fire evacuation in the summer. Now, that being said, I'm going to just make this as a public as a statement here of concern. It always bothers me in these applications when we have the information from the fire department, the North Lake Tahoe fire, that they never address, and they don't have the remit to address the issue of choke points and fire evacuation during construction. And I would fervently hope that at some point down the road, there will be some county requirement that someone looks at that in terms of some of these permitting processes, and not simply can you get in or out of the facility as the fire department does now. So I just want to go on record saying these are concerns that people in Incline Village have about building along this very sensitive, very, very steep section of highway. Okay?
Thank you. Leo, Rob? If no further discussion, I'll entertain a motion.
This is Rob. I move that after given reasoned consideration and information contained in the staff report and information received during the public hearing, the Washoe County Board of Adjustments approve with conditions special use permit case number WSUP 25-0020 for Myers Family Trust with the conditions included in Exhibit A to this matter, having made all 5 findings in accordance with Washoe County Code Section 110.8, 10.30.
This is Pat Caldwell, I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Motion passes. Thank you. Okay, let's move on to item 8B, special use permit case number WSUP 25-0024, Dodge Flat Energy Storage. Mr. Lloyd?
Yeah, for hearing, discussion, and possible action to approve a special use permit for the establishment of a 150 megawatt battery energy storage system, which is classified as energy production renewable, to be located adjacent to the existing Dodge Flat Solar Energy Center. And representing Washoe County in this matter is Senior Planner Courtney Weike.
Thank you.
A little taller. Okay. 1 second. Okay, good afternoon. Courtney Weike, Senior Planner. The item before you is special use permit case number WSUP 25-0024 for Dodge Flat Solar Battery Energy Storage System. The project site is located west of the intersection of State Route 447 and Ollinghouse Road, approximately 3.5 miles northeast of the town of Wadsworth. The project area is located on 4 parcels totaling approximately 1,400 acres. Surrounding parcels are either undeveloped or developed similarly with photovoltaic solar. The project is located in the Truckee Canyon planning area, and all parcels are zoned general rural. And so the request before you is a proposal for a 150 megawatt battery energy storage system with associated ancillary facilities such as access roads, collection lines, etc., which is classified as a energy production renewable use. The project applicant is Dodge Flat Energy Storage, LLC. The project would connect to the existing substation at Dodge Flat Solar Energy Center. Primary access to the site would be along Ollinghouse Road from State Route 447, the same access used for the Dodge Flat Solar Energy Center. The project would use existing right-of-ways, which were authorized by the Bureau of Land Management. 34.5 kV collection lines, approximately 1.2 miles long, would be constructed from the battery storage facility to the existing Dodge Flat project substation. The applicant is here and will be providing a broader overview of the need for the battery storage facility within the vicinity. The battery enclosures are similar in appearance to a cargo container, and a condition of approval requires the design compliance requires design compliance with Washoe County Code for cargo containers. Specifically, we're looking at it being painted some sort of neutral color that blends in with the environment. And my picture is not there, but I believe the applicant's presentation will give you a better idea of what those looks like. The battery energy storage system will not require, this is related, to Article 410 parking, will not require routine permanent operational staff. It is expected that there will be occasional maintenance with 1 to 2 employees visiting the site on an as-needed basis. Since the existing Dodge Flat Solar Energy Center provides 2 parking spaces in front of the power generation facilities, one of which is an accessible space, and the proposed addition of the facility before you will not generate any new on-site employees beyond that of maintenance for the new use. Staff does support waiving any of the additional parking requirements found in Article 410. Okay, Article 412 for landscaping. The applicant is also requesting a waiver from or to vary the standards found in Article 412. The project as proposed does not provide for any formal landscaping. Article 412.10D provides an exemption to the landscaping requirements for energy production renewable use types when located more than 1 mile from any residence, which that exempts this project for all landscaping requirements outside of those required for parking areas. As discussed, staff is supportive of waiving those parking requirements for or parking design standard improvements for the parking areas, and therefore is also supporting the applicant's request to waive the landscaping standards specifically for the required parking areas. Additionally, the facility is located in an area with existing native vegetation and no available water for long-term irrigation. Article 438 grading. Approximately 8.1 acres of permanent disturbance and 17.9 acres of temporary disturbance will be necessary to complete construction of the project. This includes up to 12,558 cubic yards of cut and 11,312 cubic yards of fill. All the proposed grading complies with all portions of Article 438 grading. The project application was sent to 22 agencies for review. 4 agencies provided conditions of approval, which are included as Exhibit A to your staff report. 68 parcels were noticed for the today's hearing and at the initial application. No public comments were received. Staff does believe we are able to make all the required findings as detailed in the staff report. The application is defined as a development of natural resources, and therefore additional findings are required per Article 810.35. Staff has provided rationale for each of the appropriate findings above in the staff report as well. And staff is recommending approval of the request, and I have provided a possible motion for your consideration. I'm available for any questions as well as the applicant, and they do have a formal presentation for you.
Okay, thank you. I think I'd like to go ahead and hear the applicant's presentation at this time, please.
Thank you.
Please state your name for the record.
My name is Brendan Hickey, for the record. This is for Dodge Flat Energy Storage. If we go to the next slide. There we go. I'm the project developer on behalf of NextEra Energy Resources, as well as the applicant, Dodge Flat Energy Storage. On the line, we should have Matthew Smith, our environmental project manager, as well as Kamal Yosefzai. He's our engineering and construction project manager. One alibi here, Michael Bettis is filling in for battery energy storage, fire, and safety. And possibly online, Angela Zhang from Dudek, and in the room with me is John Burkich. Overview for NextEra. So NextEra Energy is powered by two industry-leading companies strengthened by a common platform. One being Florida Power and Light, the largest electric utility in the United States, as well as NextEra Energy Resources, which is a leading North American energy company. We have over 74 gigawatts in operation between the two, and as you can see, all these various aspects of our energy portfolio down below. NextEra Energy Resources is, like I said, the country's energy infrastructure developer. And one area to note in this map that already exists in this Reno area, we have a Fish Springs Ranch solar, which is operating, as well as mentioned by Courtney, the Dodge Flat Energy solar facility that's also operating, both of which already have solar, and they also both have storage. But overall, NextEra, we have 38 gigawatts of generation and storage in operation, significant portion being wind, but we have a significant solar, and we are increasing in battery each day. I'm not going to continue on all those stats unless you want me to. But as you can see, what I want to highlight is we're in every technology in almost every state. Specifically for Nevada, we've been investing in Nevada since 2014. In that, approximately $2.7 billion in total infrastructure investments in the state. Our subsidiaries, as similar to Dodge Flat Energy Storage, the applicant here, we operate 5 solar sites, 4 with energy storage facilities, totaling 820 megawatts across the state and 425 megawatts of energy storage. And recently, in 2022, we finished the Dodge Flat Solar Center that was already identified in operation. $4.8 million we paid in 2024 in property taxes to Nevada communities, $1.2 million annually in land payments to landowners, as well as we continuously do community benefits for our various areas where we have our projects. Specifically for Dodge Flat Energy Storage, it is a 150 megawatt battery energy storage system. The access, as identified earlier, Oling House Road via State Route 447. One thing to note from our previous Dodge Flat Energy Storage, the Wadsworth Bypass Road is now open, so none of our traffic will need to go through Wadsworth. It will just take the bypass road. The Gentai, for this project, we're not building a new Gentai. We are simply using 1.5 mile new medium voltage collection lines to the existing facility substation. And like I said, we'll be utilizing the operating project's Gentai. That's roughly about 300 feet into the NV Energy's Oling House substation. Overall project schedule from start to finish, about 18 months, but we're actually looking to do that much faster, approximately like 12 months or so. Peak construction will be about 3 months in total, and during that time, that'll be about 200 workers per day traveling to the site. And a significant amount of those will also carpool. And we're targeting right now, under contract with NV Energy, summer 2027 operation date. But as I said, we're trying to pull that in a little sooner. We'll see how it works out. Going into more specifics, this is 150 megawatt nameplate capacity for a 4-hour duration, so 600 total megawatt hours of grid charged battery energy storage. As identified, 25 miles northeast of Reno. It's approximately 13 acres total on an 80-acre parcel. It's owned by a privately owned Dodge Flat Energy Energy Center, which is one of our subsidiaries, and it's adjacent, as identified, with the solar operating project that was constructed and in operation since 2022. And we'll avoid over the facility's life approximately 1.3 million tons of carbon dioxide emissions that would have been produced by electricity had been generated using fossil fuels as well. And that, for grading, the project roads and other components such as the substation and battery storage will include grading, as Courtney already identified the amount of grading. Grading is avoided when practical considering topography, drainage, geology, and other design, engineering, and construction needs. As feasible, natural draining contours are left in place to maintain typical flows across sites. This just makes sense for us because we would rather not fight Mother Nature. We've We have complied well with that, and we will continue to do so. And resource avoidance, the project is designed to avoid sensitive resources such as biological and archaeological resources if present. None have been present or found thus far. And if they are found, these areas will be buffered to ensure no direct impact if needed. On the water side, a municipal source will be used for water. They'll be needed for construction, primarily for dust suppression, but water is typically not used during operation. But if needed, a municipal source would supply water during operation. This is our project schedule. Right now, we're here for the special use applications hearing, and as you can see, continuing on through our commercial operation date in summer 2027. And that concludes the presentation. I welcome any questions.
Thank you. Science fiction, that's good stuff. Anybody have any questions?
Leo Hiroshini for the record. I just am curious, does Dodge Flat or does the larger energy entity, do you control the recycling and the end of life processing of the materials? Because it was talking about how this project basically has a 30-year lifespan. So I was just curious if your company also takes care of the batteries at the end of their life.
We don't personally recycle them, but we do work with our diverse supply chain, as well as there are entities out there that we've been working with and we align with, that in the end of this project's life, we will utilize what's available for those recycling chains for these batteries. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Anybody else?
This is Pat Caldo for the record. You mentioned in your presentation that could power up to 57,000 homes. What is the expected use for?
I can't speak to the specific use of this project. We responded to a request for proposal from NV Energy that they identified a shortfall in capacity in specifically the summer of 2027 that we are targeting to bring this online to have capacity to meet their needs. On a more detailed analysis, I would have to follow up with NV Energy to give you the specific, what they're using the power for.
So it's not expected to be utilized out on USA Parkway for those facilities out there, or?
I cannot speak to that. That is, we are specifically contracting with NV Energy or Sierra Pacific Power and up here that they would have to answer any points. They're the scheduling coordinator for this, that they'll be dispatching the resource.
Okay, thank you.
Fit.
This is Rob for the record. I got one question. 57,000 kV, how many data centers is that? Would that power? One, maybe? Half of one?
I cannot speak to that on the data center side.
All right, thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, thank you. Do we have any public comment?
I have no public comment via Zoom or in chambers.
Thank you.
Let's bring it back to the board. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
This is Rob, I'll make it. I move that after giving recent consideration, information contained in the staff report and information received during a public hearing, the Washoe County Board of Adjustments approve with conditions special use permit case number WSUP 25-0024 for the Dodge Flat Energy Center LLC with the conditions included in Exhibit A to this matter, having made all 5 findings in accordance with Washoe County Code Section 110.810.30 and with additional development and natural resources findings in accordance with Washoe County Code Section 110.810.35. I further move to vary the development code standards for parking specified in Washoe County Code Section 110.410 and waive the industrial landscape standards for Washoe County Code Section 110.412.45.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Julian, for the record, I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. Okay, motion passes. All right, moving on. Any chair and board items? Any future agenda items? No?
Don't we have a training or something coming up?
Yes, we do. I was going to bring that up in my report, but I can do that now. The training is next Thursday. That would be January the 15th at 10 a.m. So, and this is really geared for new members. It's a joint training with our Planning Commission as well, but again, you don't have to be new. This could be your second, third training if you'd like. But yes, we invite all of you to join us. It'll be upstairs in the Mount Rose Conference Room in the CSD department.
And might there be a Zoom link, just in case?
There will be a Zoom link, yes.
Okay, super.
Is there going to be sandwiches?
Yes, there will be sandwiches. Thank you.
Who needs a Zoom link?
Thought we'd have sandwiches today.
Okay, any requests for information from staff? Anybody? Okay. Trevor, any report on previous Board of Adjustment items?
Yes, I have one. At the December 16th County Commission meeting, the County Commission heard the appeal for the special use permit for the Sanctuary of God Church, and they affirmed the denial of the Board of Adjustment decision.
Oh, wow, okay. Any legal information or updates?
No updates for me at this time.
Thank you. Okay, any public comment?
No public comment in chambers or via Zoom.
Okay, it is 12:05. This meeting is adjourned. Yay.